Welcome to episode 68 of the XrmTool Cast. If you like listening to extremely handsome, middle-aged men talk nerdy to you, then this is the episode for you because Scott and I speak with Guido Preite about his newest tool for the XrmToolBox, the Dataverse Rest Builder. Guido dives into how it works, as well as the new search feature on the PCF.Gallery. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the XrmTool Cast. Me, your host, Daryl, always raising the bar, and Scott. I love the soft fur lining of my hoodie, or fake fur lining of my hoodie, Drew, I guess. Scott, how's it going?
Very good, thank you. Yes, nice and snug and snug, yes. Snug as a bug in a rug. And I can see with your hat there, you look pretty cozy as well. So it's the time of the year.
You've managed to maintain your hair farther, or more fuller than I have. So I don't know if it's a product you use or just natural, good lucky genes. But yes, mine is thinning, and it just feels nicer to have a little hat on.
No, well, you're making it with the kind of the bit of the beard going on there as well. So you're all right. But we should have like a nice roaring log fire where we can just have a cozy chat at this time of year.
Yeah, I like that idea. It's a good idea.
Yeah. So maybe just Lynn can add little kind of crackles in the background.
Yep. All right. Anyway, we have a repeat guest with us today, Guido Preite. Let's see, I'm reading your Twitter profile. Your first word, Esthete, software engineer and developer, Microsoft Business Applications MVP, maintainer, PCF.Gallery. What's the first word? Why can't I pronounce it?
Esthete, I believe, is the English pronunciation.
Esthete. All right.
Yeah, it means who appreciates the beauty. So it's
wow. I love the person that knows 3 other languages besides English is teaching me things about English. It's great. So you appreciate Esthete. Okay.
Yeah, no, I like art. So, for example, you go around the museum, you appreciate what you are watching, or a beauty landscape. Appreciate the beauty.
Cool.
So.
Oh, that's such a great way to start, isn't it? Because it's so important to just like pause and appreciate that stuff, because it's so easy, just especially in technology, things are just moving on like so quickly. But it's an inspiration, Guido. Just take the time to just look out the window and appreciate the landscape.
Yeah, it's perfect for the Twitter headlines.
So you don't do it in practice then, does it?
No, I actually do. I mean, I like the word. It's something that I carry from more than 20 years. It's a word that I learned in high school. My Italian teacher was teaching this word, and I like the idea now that you appreciate the beauty. So it can be art, it can be landscape, it can be anything you want.
Okay,
maybe we lost our hosts. I don't know. Can you?
No, which host? Yeah, I'm appreciating the beauty of you both right now.
Okay, so for this, he kept silence. Okay.
The beauty of silence.
It's just like the sound of silence, I guess. So Guido, you've kind of been busy. You've worked on this kind of replacement tool for a tool that already exists in the community. It just hasn't gotten a whole lot of love recently. But recently, I think the last update was like and that, of course, is Jason Lanimer's Rest Builder. So you've got your new tool, the Dataverse Rest Builder, and it works a little bit differently. It's a tool for the XrmToolBox as well as being a solution that would go through what is the tool, explain it to our users, explain it to me, and kind of let's start with what is it, and then maybe we'll go back. What is it, and then maybe we'll go back and track why did you make it.
Okay, so Dataverse Rest Builder helps you to create a request against the web API endpoint. As you already said, it's not a new thing. JSON Latimer tools already existed before. And yeah, it's sometimes as developer we work with Web API and directly. Not everybody use the SD standard SDK that work with C# usually. And yeah, the tool was not updated for a long time. Unified interface come along as everybody use that now. New columns attributes. It's something that we needed, I would say, and I can honestly say that after 1 week that I work on this new, I regret starting it because it's kind of complicated to.
It's harder than it
there are
looks.
several. I mean, there are several request types. I mean, you open the tools, is okay. Yeah, I could just do one request. I create just one create request. And after is okay, maybe there is also this request type, or this request acts in this way that is not so common, and you need to deal with all the scenario possibilities. And JSON Latimer tools actually deal with it in very good way under the hood. I mean, you don't notice if you just open it and just create a simple request, but it has many options. And first things I needed to replicate all the options that this tool already have. I told you, after 1 week, I said, what have been done? Why I went down this rabbit hole and I started, I said, okay. And after I started, I said, okay, I need to complete what I did. And the tool
How
is
many
gone.
weeks were you working on it? I mean,
It took three months of my time. 3 months. 3
Wow.
months.
I kind of have that feeling sometimes when I'm like trying to refactor something, like trying to go, okay, this whole thing is kind of weird. Let me just, I gotta stop what I'm doing and like start refactoring. And I get like a couple hours into it. I was like, oh, dang it. What do I do? Do I keep on forging ahead?
it's a part on the table. It's everything's all over the bits. All the bits all over. They're in little boxes of things, and you got, how am I going to put this back together again? It's never going to.
It's probably
work.
the same thing if you get out a puzzle and it's a really, really hard puzzle. You don't realize how hard it is, and like you're like, oh, I just want to be done with it, but I can't stop. But I got to keep on going. I don't want to keep on going. So is that what it was like then for you, Guido? Like it was like, oh no, why did I do this? But I got to finish it now.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as, it's something that I wanted to work on. I mean, the idea of rewriting the tool was, I kept in my pipeline from the month before, probably beginning of 2021. I said, okay, this is because the problem is that something I knew that I was able to replicate. Okay, the tool is there. I can improve it in what I wanted, because the main things was, first I started with the collection. You can create a collection of requests, organize the request, and save it to a JSON file to after load it. That was my main goal in the beginning, because the tool of JSON, you spin, you create, and you are done. You have no way to save it except the code. But the settings you are not able to save. So my main goal was, okay, first things I need to save it. That is the reason. And the second is, okay.
This is the JSON you're getting back from the request that you want to save?
No, I created the JSON format to save all the settings. So if you open it, you can say, okay, the request type, the columns you selected, the table you're working on, the options. So I defined the structure of the. It's internal, so I don't care if someone like or not. I mean, it's I tried to create a JSON as most adaptable for me. Actually, maybe someone will not agree with the structure, can be improvement, but it works. I mean, it's not something that the user open it and see what's going on.
So the REST returns JSON like the tool that JSON built, and then you're saving the settings as JSON.
Yeah. I just saved the settings, so
come on, Scott.
the tool start to create the JavaScript starting from the JSON settings. So there is a complete separation between what you save and what you generate. So, for example, recently I added the fetch API syntax, that you can, in addition to jQuery and XLM HTTP request, you can use the fetch API. And it took me time to implement, but because there was this separation already, I can easily go and say, okay, I just need to create new methods that take this input and produce this output. So let's say that if tomorrow I want to add a new language, it's time consuming, but it's straightforward for me to know. I know exactly where I need to start to create it. So and of course this JSON that I created is different from Postman, but because my tool is able to export Postman, there are some similarities now. The structure, the folders, so the item you work on. It's nerdy stuff actually, how the JSON settings are created. I mean, it's something internally, but it took me the time it took me most was the first 2-3 weeks of creating the tool now to define this structure. Because you need to define exactly settings to keep homogeneous between all the requests. Now you can't create one request where you put all the settings in one style and the other one you create different. So I try to keep a uniform between all the requests. And you can actually see from the tools, because you first start with the request and you usually select a table and the columns, most of the requests. But it's starting from that, after the second part was to create all the requests that are many.
Are you reading all of that from the metadata? So are you going to the EDM file or are you getting it directly from the metadata in the...
No, actually no, because the difference between the JSON Latimer 2 was that he started from the metadata and from the old endpoint, from the 2011 endpoint. My tool starts from the new endpoint, the Web API. So I use the Web API endpoint also to read the definition. So the entity definitions and the point to read all the tables. This is one of the reasons why is lower than CRM Rest Builder, because from previous tool, it fetch all the metadata, most of it, and it has different ways to catch all the information from the metadata in more uniformed way. With the new endpoint, I need to do many queries. They are batched, but because there are many queries, it kind of slower. And I fetch only the metadata when you have this request for the internal action, internal function. That is the only point where I need to fetch the metadata that is in XML, because they are only exposed, at least to my knowledge, they're only exposed to there.
Yeah, exactly. It's well, that's good. I mean, I guess that's going to make it easier in the future when as stuff is added in, then it will just work with any new requests that are added in, and you'll just be able to, and custom APIs as well. So when someone creates a custom API, then the REST builder will work with that presumably as well.
Yeah. There is a difference between when it fetch the custom API or when it fetch the custom action, because the custom action are fetched from the tables that are the workflow definition that hold. And if you actually go around the code, you see that there are different states on the same message. So if you create a custom action, the platform creates double messages, one active as a template, one the actual you are creating. It's not right away as the custom API. Custom API, you just have one table, 3 tables to fetch. And so you have your API, you have your input parameters and your output parameters. You are done. Custom action is a bit tricky because you need to go deeper to see how the relationship are and the status of these records you are fetching. Actually, I snooped a bit on the code of JSON wrap code for the custom action tester to find that, because JSON Latimer only deal with the action, and because in the internal action, you can see also your custom action added. But in my tool, you have a separation. You have a custom action and action. So action is fetched from the metadata, and probably you see also the custom action. But custom action is just custom action, and the code from JSON wrap helped me to identify the exactly tables that I need to go around. So thanks,
Jonas. You mean Jonas, right?
Jonas,
yes,
Jonas.
Yeah, you're combining Jason Latimer and Jonas.
They always start with J. I don't know. Sorry,
they'd be too strong. It'd throw the Earth off balance.
There'd be a rift in the universe.
It's a good thing they weren't made one, or they can't be made one. It's just too much.
But it's a Jonas wrap tool that I snooped for the custom. The name is Custom Action Tester, if I'm right. So that's it.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you go around to see other tools works and copy paste the code.
Well, that's how the what's the Chrome extension? Why am I the level up tool, right? I mean, most of those snippets are already out there, but combining them all into one and then putting it as an extension was a stroke of genius, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, the Dataverse Rest Builder started off as a solution that you have installed in, you'd install into your Dataverse environment, but now it's also available as XrmToolBox tool. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, that is another nerdy story. Okay, so
no,
let
nasty
me start.
Story, is that what you said?
Nerdy. I said nerdy.
Nerdy. Okay.
Change your headphone there.
Nerdy is my nerdy. Okay, all right, I got you.
Okay, so yeah, I started as managed solution because CRM Rest Builder was a managed solution, and XRM Web API you can only execute inside the context of Dataverse instance. You can't execute outside. I mean, I'm not a mock-up god as someone else, so I can't replicate the XRM Web API outside. So I said, okay, let's create a managed solution, and Xrm Web API will be executed. So, and CRM Rest Builder was built on that. So I really didn't want to have people to use two tools. So if I create directly one XrmToolBox, some people will say, your tool doesn't work with Xrm Web API. I still use another tool, and this tool doesn't do. That is a nightmare for me, that kind of approach. So I didn't want to create a Windows form tool. So most of XrmToolBox, except yours, Scott, of course, are Windows forms. So, and I don't want to create a Windows form. And I said, okay, who care about XrmToolBox in the end? No, I was so silly. I said, who care? My tool will be so successful. Everybody will install the managed solution. And, but beside the joke, I started as managed. I'm more happy to work with. I'm not a web developer. I mean, it's not my main focus, but I like to more work on the web aspect. If there is something that I want to improve with myself is web development. So anything that is web related, I appreciate more than Windows Phone. Started as managed solution, created a tool, and after I did the first version, I start to look at if I can port to XrmToolBox. I mean, I released the first version of XrmToolBox when it was already number 15, the release version. But between all the releases, I tried to fiddle with the XrmToolBox to see if I can port over. No? And the old version of XrmToolBox, they already only have the web view component, the old one, web browser component, and it worked with the old Internet Explorer engine, and my tool was not compatible with that, sadly. It's something that I checked, but was not compatible. And after I checked, okay, there is this WebView 2 component released by Microsoft based on Edge, but XrmToolBox was not did not support directly that component at the moment. So I didn't know if it worked, so I did some tests, I talked with Tanguy about it. In the end, I was able to make it working, and Tanguy published it to be a new version of the latest version of XrmToolBox include this component. He actually used for something else. He used internally for displaying some information in the tool. Probably my tool is the first one that is using it as a tool for the tool engine. And it allowed me to load the HTML that I created inside the XrmToolBox by passing the token of the authentication. Is a tricky way to use. It's not if you plan to create a tool, it should not be your first way to what I did. Because
Don't do what I did. Huh?
Because you don't have when you create a tool for XrmToolBox, you usually create a Windows form. So if you use C#, you can rely on the CRM service clients now, and you have all the options there. If you use the access token way as I did, you are limited to the web API endpoint, and something you can't do with them. I mean, you have a different way to do it, and it's not easy to do it in the same way. A big example, if you need to fetch the required method of the appointment, classical example of the web API limitation, that you need to go on the activity party table and something like that. If you have a CRM service client, you just do a query on the appointment to add in the column, and you got. With the web API, you need to go around and I know it's
expand
Yeah, I mean, you as a developer, you can go around, but it's not something that I suggest. If you use C#, you should always use the official SDK, in my opinion. And after I released the XrmToolBox version, download numbers skyrocketed. Unbelievable.
What's the lesson that you learned here, Guido? What lesson?
That I should not create a new tool in the future. That is the lesson I learned.
Well, I think we all learned that the power of the XrmToolBox, or being able to spread whatever you've done, is pretty impressive, I guess I gotta say, huh?
No, yeah, I mean the fact that everyone has it there on their desktop, and when you're browsing the tools, they're just there, and I think discoverability is often underrated in terms of how much influence it can have. Like, for example, flows, connectors with flows. If you're an ISV or a company doing some sort of product and you don't have a custom connector in Flow, I think you're missing out on having that discoverability, because it's kind of like free marketing, really, isn't it? It's the same thing for their XrmToolBox. You can just browse. What are you shaking your head for, Daryl?
I just think of you being on the expo floor at the community summit, and like normally the salespeople are coming up trying to get you to buy your product. And discuss, well, do you have this? Do you have a connector for this? Like, you guys are missing out. They're like, oh, no, we need this. What's like completely reversal of the sales pitch. Like, it was impressive. I don't know if it was just Scott himself. I don't know if it was the accent. I don't know what it was, but it was impressive and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, they're on their phones, the tech guys. Hey, you got to check this. Go to Power Automate.
I don't know. Let me ask my tech guy and bring him over. And next thing you know, they're giving us a ride to the airport. And
well, I'm just saying it how it is. But yeah, that's really good to know. That that's. Have you given that feedback to Tanguy?
Yeah, he was very happy that the WebView 2 component now is included. Besides that, too, I don't forecast other authors starting to use it. But I think he's planning to extend to other parts of XrmToolBox for internal messaging and stuff like that. So.
I loved hearing you working with Tanguy, like watching the chit chat to see how you were kind of, working on getting that web component in there. It was really good to watch from the outside looking in.
Yeah. So the question is, so there's it's basically a web browser that's a component within XrmToolBox, so you can point to a URL, or you can open up a local HTML file. Is that what's basically happening then?
Yeah. Okay, let's start from the fact that my code works also offline is in demo mode. That is not all the tool have. I can be proud of this. So if you go to the GitHub repository, you have also the demo mode that works with the demo data now. So you can test it locally. It doesn't work, but
I love that actually. I thought that was a great. I was so impressed when I saw that. I was like, this is smart. I love that.
So because it works offline, I just need the token to make it work. That is the difference. Because the problem is that when you work with the request you get from the web API, the response message is different if you do a batched request and not batched request, or if you're fetching some So after I say, okay, this is how the response should act, and it works if you have a token or not. So I can demo the data. And the only things that I needed from XrmToolBox is the access token from the CRM service client. The NuGet package that you get installed, you get a local folder under your plugins folder. Same as your tool there, that you put your CRM svcut.exe as inside the folder under your plugin. So yeah, I also snooped your NuGet package. I downloaded, extracted, say, okay, let's see how it works. So I replicate that approach. So when you download the NuGet package from inside XrmToolBox, it download the DLL, and it allowed another folder that it contains the same HTML and JS and CSS that you found on the managed solution or in the demo on GitHub. It's exactly the same file. If you open the code, it's exactly the same. But because you pass the token, you get this XrmToolBox mode that everybody's downloading, and I say, the numbers are incredible, because in 3 months that my solution was on GitHub, it was downloaded around 250 times. And that number got in just 1 week of XrmToolBox to library. Now XrmToolBox version is downloaded more than 1,000 times. So it's incredible how many people use. I mean, if you see the total numbers of Fetch XrmTool Builder, your tool, also your tool. If you go to the top down of XrmToolBox, you guys up. It's over 200k downloads, so impressive numbers for sure.
Right, but it's kind of this impressive numbers. The whole distribution of through NuGet and all of those kind of of the tools. Did you have what was the challenge in terms of getting your version pushed out? For new tool authors. Is there any, because I remember seeing you talking about, getting it approved and stuff like that. What was the process? Did you find that you had to wait a certain amount of time, or was it sort of almost instantaneous?
Because we knew Tanguy personally, he helped faster than others, I suppose. But the process is written on the website. It's a bit cumbersome. It's still a bit cumbersome if you are a first-time author. The most complex things for me is that when you inside the NuGet package, you need to define a dependency that doesn't exist. And this is something that really say how it is work, because when you publish a package, you need to add a dependency to XrmToolBox of a NuGet package that doesn't exist. So, and it's not the package that you use for creating the tool. And after, I snooped again at Daryl tool. So, let's see which dependency put on, and was that thing. So, but the other things, just to you need to put the DLL in the right folder. Is really, you need to read the documentation, of course. And if someone wants to publish a video on how to do it, it will be helpful probably. I
was going to ask another question as well, around the the kind of the process that you were using around the tokens. How were you getting that access token to sort of put it into the REST queries that you were sending off? What was the process there, and was there any need to sort of look at timeouts and things like that?
Oh, okay, you're asking the tough question now. So, okay, so now I will explain why it's a tough question. So when you get the CRM service client, after you build a connection, you get this property that is called the current access token as a property of the object that you get your better token, okay? And it works for around 1 hour and something. So I just need that string, but of course, if you open your XrmToolBox more than that time with that only just connection, that token expired, and my tool actually right now it stopped to work. So it's a bug that I already know. Actually, Danish found out because Danish told me, this is not working. I said, well, I get 401. I said, okay, why you get 401? Because if you get 500, 404, it's a request can happen, but to get a response of a request, 401 means not authenticated. So after I check it down, it's because the CRM service client actually refresh it under the hood. You don't see it. So for this, use the SDK client if you can. You don't need to deal with this. And the token is not, because I only pass once to my tool. Actually, there is I already created the update of this. So what I'm doing in the next version that I will publish, the code is already there. I didn't publish because hopefully nobody is affected by this. What I do is I start a timeout. I extract the expiring date from the token. So I parse the JVT token. Okay. I get the expiration date from the token, and I create a task delay based on the seconds that is missing from the expiration. And when it is expiring, I execute a script from the WebView component to refresh to call a JavaScript method in my method to refresh the token of XrmToolBox. It sounds complicated probably because I did. But practically what I did is that I force the application because the XrmToolBox is still a tool that contains a panel, a standard Windows Form panel that just load a WebView component. So under the hood, I just create this task delay. So the token expired 30 minutes later. Okay, so I put a task delay 30 minutes to execute a JavaScript function to refresh the token. So next version will contain this. Lucky for me, because actually executing this JavaScript function from the web view was not so straightforward. You need to do an invoke delegate of the method because you are not. It's complex. Also the code that is loading the tool is on GitHub. It's another repository I created, but the tool is there. So the new version of the repository will contain also this kind of task delay stuff to refresh the token. It's but I know it's a workaround, but it works.
So while if someone leaves the XrmToolBox open with that plugin, that tool open, every 30 minutes or whatever it is, it'll go and refresh the token all night long then.
Yeah, it will be the same as you use in the CRM service client. It will refresh the token under the seamless for the user. Hopefully I don't see the necessity to use my tool more than 1 hour, but there is a problem with my tool if we are using more than 1 hour because stuff is not working as expected probably. So the token may be expired 15 minutes later. So.
Well, I just don't close the tool, right? So if I don't close the tool and I leave open the XrmToolBox, is it sitting in the back going through and authenticating or refreshing the token then?
No, the XrmToolBox refresh it it doesn't generate a new token every time you open it. It reuse the same token if it's still valid. I think it regenerates when there are 15 minutes left or 10 minutes left before the expiration. The CRM service client try to fetch a new token. Otherwise, it reutilize the same token because it probably saved on your computer, no? XrmToolBox, it saved the token authentication under some folder. I don't know where it's saved, but from my test, I noticed that the token was the same also if I close XrmToolBox and I reopen it. So it kept the same underline. If you use the same connection, of course, no. If you're using the same connection, if you connect to another instance, it's another.
Okay, so I mean, tokens. Like that's the worst part about programming for me is like trying to get it to work security wise, trying to get the security work. Cause like usually it's like the worst documented or there's like, you don't know which way to do it. And there's like one guy on one website somewhere that did it once and posted it on it. And you kind of learn from them. And so, you know, getting over that hump and just having it all done magically, like that's the beauty and the awesomeness of having the SDK. So the fact that you had to go through and do all that stuff, on top of everything else required to make the tool, make the plugin work, I mean, that is very impressive. I am impressed, Guido. You have impressed me. Well done.
We are impressed.
No, it's the same when you need to fetch more than 5,000 records. No, if you need to fetch it with the web API, it's a nightmare. SDK help you to fetch more. You know there are methods to fetch more than 5,000 records already exist. So from long time, so it's okay.
So how do you find the kind of the energy and the passion needed to kind of take that undertaking on? Because it obviously you put a lot of real energy and you had a real passion for it. And you clearly have loved the results, and seen reap the benefits of seeing people using it and all those kind of stuff. So the reward's been there. But when you were doing it, how did you kind of maintain the energy to keep it up?
Oh, I think I know this. I think I know this because this has happened before. At a previous company I was at, there was this guy that his wife said, "Hey, we need to clean out the garage," and he said, "No, I've got work to do." And so he created this wonderful tool for us that wasn't at all needed, but he did it anyway, and it was awesome. So that's what I bet your wife told you had to go clean out like the closet or something. And you're like, "No, I've got work to do," and that's what it was right, Guido?
No, it was not about that.
No.
My actually wife told me, "Why are you working on it?" I mean, after I started.
Your wife tells you those things too. Mine does as well. You don't get out of what you put into it.
Universal truth.
No, the problem is that I knew that it was required. That is the problem. I mean, it's everybody needed an update of that. I'm sorry to say this, but CRM Rest Builder was old. It's not the fact of the extra things that I put it on, the collection. Okay, that is nice, but it had some bugs that was on the filtering. That when you face 5-6 times the same bug, I say okay, this tool need an upgrade, and you can't always ask who built the tool to fix the things for you. It's a free source. I can't go to write to Jason and say you need to fix this. Why? You should not. I mean, it's an open source tool. It's a free tool, so other people can use it, can fork and something like that. So I said okay. I asked Jason if it's okay for him if I work on a similar tool. He said okay. And after I started. As I told you before, I really regretted after 1 week I regretted to work on it because it's a hell of the work. Actually.
Jason probably was nodding knowingly saying, sure, yeah, you go ahead.
yeah, probably said that.
I just love that you asked him if you could like create a similar tool. Like it was that kind of like, hey, your tool is old and it kind of stinks now and needs to get replaced. I guess you could have done that pretty bad.
I was more kind when I brought to him. I mean, it's I'm working something similar. Can I please? It's also. I mean, people can undervalue what has been done because of this. Now, and it's okay. I mean, I have no problem. You already created something that already exists, and okay, fine for me. I have no problem. It's not a new idea. I didn't create something new. Of course, if I create something new, I will probably sell and get money from it. I'm not stupid. So
you maintained that energy because you knew it needed doing. So that was enough to drive you forward, because you started it and you really needs to finish it. It's
Yeah, it was something that was necessary. That is the problem. That is kept me after I started, because when you start to work, when you start a new project, you are all excited. Okay, I start a new project. Okay, this component. After the things doesn't start to work. I remember working on a collection that they request the folders. I said, okay, this is one thing that I hate program. I know how to do recursive programming. No, it's something that I know how to do, but I don't like to do recursive programming because you need to be on another mindset when you work on recursive programming. You need to think different, and I don't have the habit to think on that. I started with the procedural languages. No, when you start to work with I started with the Quick Basic. No, Quick Basic was my first language. So, it's procedural. You just 10, 20, 30. No, okay. And so recursive programming is something that I know to do, but I don't like it. And there are some parts in recursive programming inside the Dataverse Rest Builder. The collection is one part. The filtering of inside the retrieve multiple. When you create, you can create more filtering. You can group of groups. That is also recursive. So that is when you start to pick up why I'm doing this. I mean, nobody knows that I'm doing this. Nobody cares if I do a new version, but
we care. We care.
You're saying recursive programming. Is that what you were saying?
Recursive, yeah, recursive.
Yeah. For some reason, I was hearing recursive, and I'm like, "What's recursive?" Okay, recursive. Okay. All right, maybe that's the Italian way. Recursive rather than recursive. I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out. Sorry.
No, it's okay. As I said in another interview, the fact that I have an accent, I don't bother too much. Of course, I try to improve my English, but if you are not an English-born speaker, and first things you should try to speak as you are able. No, you have always time to learn how to say the correct pronunciation of stuff. But in the end, the English native population is less than the other world population that speak in English, if I'm right. So, is your English the correct one in the end?
Yeah. My English is not the correct one, right? It's just that was just. It took me a while to figure out what that. Well, there it was. Wait, what was Scott and what was the word that you were using with Allison? It was some root. It was like root or something. Route.
Ikigai?
Route. Yeah.
Root. Oh, yes. Root and route.
So the part of a tree that grows on the ground, what is that called, Scott?
The root.
Okay. And then if you're trying to draw a line in a map from A to B, what would you draw? You would draw a
root.
Route?
Okay.
Okay. All right, cool.
No, it's a root, yeah.
Just making sure that there really isn't any difference in the way you pronounce it. So, anyway. My mom has she's from Montana. She has kind of almost a Canadian accent, and she's like beg and bag are not the same word. Like I want to beg for that beg, or give me the beg over there, and so it's just silly things like that. Okay. Yes, recursive programming. That can hurt your head a lot, Guido. I'm with you on that. I tried to go through and do when I had to write the link provider for my in-memory Xrm unit test database. Like that was some of the hardest programming I think I've ever done. Like it was just hurting my head. Like what is this doing? How is this working? And yeah, it works. I haven't had an issue with it, but if I did, I don't know if I'd have the energy to go in and figure out how to make it work and make it fix. It's bad.
Yeah, it's no. I mean, there are people that are very confident using it. I mean, I'm not. I know what to do. When you load a collection inside my tool, because there is endless paths, you can create a folder under folder under folder under folder under folder. I don't know. People needing that, but you can do that. So that you must do recursive. You can't limit the user to say, maximus 10 depth of level, because the first thing is that you limit the user, and you will find the user that I want 11. Okay, you want 11, and the second you need to write a code to actually deal with up to 10, and that is wrong. If you do with the recursive, you solve this problem. So if you have a user want to create a path depth of 200, it can.
So true, so true.
The problem is that also Postman works in this way, so I needed to do the same. Postman does all these things that I need to do with the same as email as Postman. Oh my god! So it's,
Is it sad that I just installed Postman on my computer 2 weeks ago for the first time ever?
Yeah.
Do I need to give you like a chip out of my developer card, like here? Like,
are you now? Is your mind now blown? You're like, I could just be doing all of this stuff in Postman, and before you added what you were using to do.
No. Someone gave me their like collections file, and I can know enough to go to where the little function is I need to call and to get the JSON result back from the API. Like that's all I know about Postman. Just a single thing. Not very good at it. So Guido, switching gears a little bit, because if we don't switch gears, we'll never finish this, and we got to finish this because we got a time limit here. We got an hour to get this done with. You had a new change you made for the PCF.Gallery. You had some new first search functionality, and you said it was a pretty big change. What all is involved with that? What can people find when they go back to PCF.Gallery?
Yeah, so I saw your new year video about saying thanks to me about the PCF.Gallery. So I said, okay, I need to text back there and give him a search.
So I thank you for something and you make it better? Is that the way it works?
No. I had the search functionality in the pipeline for a long time now. So the number one request on the gallery to able to search the controls in a more meaningful way than the previous search that was already in the site. The previous search worked by an extension of the GitHub Pages engine that I'm working. So if you search, for example, Scott, you get results that has nothing to do with Scott. Sorry, Scott. But it doesn't work good. It doesn't work. It didn't work good. So because it was a workaround just thing. So the new search engine, you can search by a keyword, and you can filter in by a want-only control. So working with Canvas apps, so just with portals, or I just want a control that has a managed solution available. No, so you just want the controls that you want a managed solution, or I want just controls created by Scott, and that is also another search.
That's why I always filter my controls.
So everybody check about that first, and it works nice. It was not complex to create, but I needed to be in the right mindset to create it, because it's a separate engine. The site works still as expected. And if we want to go more technical, because this I like that this episode is more technical than the last one. Let's say how it. That's fine. Let's say how it works from behind the scenes. Okay, I mean, 3 people is watching this podcast, no more, so it's okay.
Yes.
I mean, only 3 of us will watch this podcast, and Lynn that is editing. So. So how it works behind the scenes, the search. So the site is a GitHub Pages. So the under engine there is a Jekyll that work with the YAML files. Okay, so you have the authors, all the posts are the markdown, and the code is YAML. Okay, so that you have that. But the engine is the search engine is a .NET 6. Minimal API with a SQLite database under it. So what I did was I created a converter, a YAML converter to SQLite. So every time I update the YAML of the PCF.Gallery, I convert the content to a SQLite database that is as the actual table a relationship, authors, controls, so end-to-end relationship within authors and control and categories. So this a standard database, but it's SQLite. And this SQLite database is loaded on memory on the run on the application. So if you now go to the site, it doesn't actually touch the database. It works on memory because I created a singleton. I created a singleton of the queries that at runtime I fetch the database content. And I put all the results inside the singleton, and I just query the singleton after. So it's because I didn't want to rely on the connection database. No? If you search, the content of the site is small. It's 350 controls, 200 authors. So it's very small website, the content. So keep it in memory. Allow me to say, okay, I don't have delay on the SQLite connection anymore because I just do that at runtime. So one.
So were you using the SQLite before, or is this adding in SQLite as a new thing?
Actually, that site is made with MPOCO. You know MPOCO? Mm-hmm. It's a micro ORM. It's
sounds like a nice cocktail.
You know Entity Framework, right? Entity Framework.
Oh, yes.
It's an ORM. I don't know the acronyms around ORM. Oriented Relationship.
Object relational.
Object relational.
Yeah, or mapping.
Yeah, there is
mapping.
mapping.
Plain old classes.
Yeah, this is I use MPOCO, that is a micro ORM. So it's very straightforward. I don't write the SQL queries. So this MPOCO object, I just say I define my classes that are the same, the POCO object practically. I create a POCO object, and this library that is very light, it can read from different database types, including SQLite, that is a single file. So I don't need an engine down, and I read the content. It's a read-only actually, so I don't need, for my YAML to SQLite converter, I use also MPOCO for the update and delete operation. But for the search, it's just the read operation on memory, put in a singleton, and the site goes from there. And it's actually take me a bit of extra work now, because every time a new control is published, I need to refresh this SQLite database.
Yes.
But the benefit overtakes the new work.
Yeah.
All right. So if you have used the PCF.Gallery before and you did not like the search function, try it again. If you did like it, try it again. You may even like it better, right?
Yeah.
It's useful now. I don't know what people will ask now for the gallery, because now, for me, it does everything. You can search whatever you want, keyword, if license. I don't know, really. It's
there's always something else that people can always come up with something else. There's always things.
There's always
but one thing I want to say, and I take the opportunity of the people that watch this podcast, is that recently I also watched some YouTube video about PCF.Gallery. People that was talking about the gallery. I need to motivate myself to say why I'm doing this search. So I say, okay, people is really talking about that. There was some videos that the presenter assumed that I created the control. That is totally false.
Huh?
Yes. I'm an author. I just created one control. All the others are from other people. I just created the gallery. I didn't create the control. When I saw that video, I said, this is wrong. I was really sorry and shameful about that, because that wasn't. I'm really sorry if someone understood that way, that I never created the other control. I tried to highlight more the authors. There is an authors written down. When I put the Twitter and the LinkedIn post about the control, I always write the authors. If the control is hosted on some other company repository, I added also the company itself. I was never my intention to take work from others. And when I saw the video, and I was shocked, I said, damn, how can I improve the gallery to highlight more the author's work? That is maybe some change that I will put the text bigger. I don't know. I was really sorry about that.
I think you first have to stop and say, is there something I'm missing? Is there something I could do to make it more clear? Or maybe it's just somebody who just wasn't paying any attention. You have to kind of figure out that, because there are people that are going to just jump to conclusions no matter how obvious you try to make it. What's the rule? If you make something idiot proof, then make a better idiot, something like that. So you have to be worried about. You have to first, figure out, do I need to change, or is this person just off the rocker and I can't help them? Like, you have to kind of figure that out too.
But
so.
I mean, it's after I listened to these things, I went to the gallery otherwise. Okay, how is highlighted the author? So how is, I mean, it's I probably is the only things that I will try to improve in the gallery to make the authors more bigger text or highlighted. I was really sorry when I listed that. I mean, it's
yeah, yep. I mean, I've been telling everybody you've been making all the tools, so I guess now that you don't want me to tell them that, I guess I'll have to stop.
No, it's
no, I'm kidding.
It was really when I saw it because I don't search for people doing on YouTube. I actually watched it because I created a YouTube channel of PCF.Gallery. So if now when the person send me an animated GIF or a MP4 video, I upload to the YouTube channel of PCF.Gallery. It's more easy for me to search. If an author send me directly a YouTube link on his channel, I will put his channel. I will not re-upload the video. So I have no intention, but it was easier for me to put all inside YouTube. It actually make the site smaller. The sides because I don't toast anymore the files, and the compilation of GitHub pages is way faster now because you don't need to hold the website to have 200 megabytes of video now. It doesn't have it. It's on YouTube and it's okay. So because I opened the channel of the PCF.Gallery, I searched and I saw this video and that was really okay.
All right. So public announcement. Guido only has one control on there. Everything else is somebody else's. So that's clear. Yes. And that's really all the time we have for today, though. So I'm going to end this quick before our recording runs out. So, Guido, thank you so much for coming on. How can our listeners get a hold of you?
As I said last time, my Twitter handle is XrmAnswers. So naming things doesn't change. And on LinkedIn as well. You can find me there and you can add me there. And there's my blog. I mean, I'm easy to find. I don't hide myself under a rock.
Easy to find. All right. Well, Scott, how can our listeners get a hold of us?
Email us at cast@xrmtoolbox.com or on LinkedIn and Twitter at XrmToolCast. We'd love to hear from you. And it's been fantastic speaking to you as well, Guido. It's always a pleasure as well to hear about what you're up to and all the cool stuff you've been doing.
Thank you.
Agreed. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been the XrmTool Cast with Daryl and Scott Durrell. Produced by Lynn Zawin. If you have any questions or suggestions, please send them to cast@XrmToolBox.com, tweet @XrmToolCast, or hit us up on our LinkedIn XrmToolCast page.